tell me, about 12 months ago, that after round 3, Haas would be 7th in the constructors and wouldn't be the slowest team? I'm not sure I would have believed you. Seriously, I think I said in my video of thoughts on preseason testing, something along the lines of, we know Haas are gonna be last. They're not. So yeah, sorry Haas, I underestimated you. The American team have really surprised us so far, and in a good way, which I don't think anybody saw coming. I mean, their own team boss, Ayao Komatsu, was saying back at the start of February, out of the gates in Bahrain, I think we're still going to be towards the back of the grid, if not last. Nicely played, Komatsu, nicely played. The sandbags were out in force, because they were not last. They both made Q2, and Hulk even made Q3 at round 1 in Bahrain. They didn't score any points that weekend, but still. They also both made Q2 in Saudi Arabia, and they even scored a point in the end after their teamwork and Magnussen parking the entirety of Denmark on every apex to hand up the rest of the field so Nico could pit and rejoin still in P10 to go on to score that point. And they both scored points last time out in Australia, which was their first double points finish in a Grand Prix since Magnussen and Schumacher finished 8th and 6th respectively in the 2022 Austrian Grand Prix. In both cases of the races where they've scored points this year, they were aided by top half of the pecking order cars retiring, Stroll in Saudi and Verstappen, Hamilton and Russell all retiring in Australia. But to be in the position of benefiting from the top guys retiring, you need to be able to put yourself into the position where if one of them does retire, you're the one who benefits most, and that's what Haas did in rounds 2 and 3. They managed to get themselves into that position of being towards the front of the back half of the pecking order Grand Prix, as I'm calling it, so they can then pick up the pieces of some of the front guys falling off the rod. But overall, the package they had, it seems to be better than they had last year, and tire wear is a big part of that seems to have improved. It seems to be something that isn't as horrible for Haas, at least so far anyway. We're only 3 rounds in, but last year their car destroyed the tyres. They always suffered with bad tyre wear, but this year it hasn't been quite so bad. Kevin Herman posted this after Bahrain Grand Prix, a graph of the average tyre wear for each team, and Haas had the 4th best tyre deg. From what I can see, he never tweeted a graph of this deg from Saudi, but he did for Australia, and while Haas, as you can see, are further in the table in 7th for deg, it could be a lot worse. Of course, this isn't the first time we've seen Haas have a good start to their season. In years past, Haas have had stronger first halves or so of the year, then it just fades away a bit as the year goes on. Part of that could have been coming due to how they developed and upgraded their past cars and their development timeline, just making them lose performance to their rivals. But it seems like their upgrade path for the VF24 will be different to previous years. According to this article from Formula Uno, Komatsu has confirmed that Haas have taken measures to strengthen their mid-season development, which, let's be fair, their mid-season upgrades in times past have been a little lacking. And they don't have any intentions of falling backwards. Apparently their car had a defined upgrade plan. On the general topic of upgrades, this is what Komatsu had to say. We're making changes to the organizational structure on the technical side to ensure that whatever we're finding out on the track translates into car development. If you look at the organizational structure previously, there isn't a clear path to close the loop on that side. Everything that's found trackside, there's now a closed loop going into the aero, wind tunnel and CFD department. He went on to say, now, at least if there's a disagreement, everyone is clear about why we're developing the car in a certain way. That's one key reason why we haven't been able to put upgrades on the car and fell back in the season. We're now already working in that way, and there's so much better transparency, openness, and communication. Therefore, I believe we will have a much better chance of upgrading the car properly this year. The Japanese team boss finished his comments in the article by saying the team are going to bring upgrades earlier, which is a change for the team. I like that final comment, which is a change for the team. Hopefully Haas can actually achieve this and not fall back during the season. Hopefully. It'll definitely make a change to see Haas having a more solid upgrade plan and actually upgrading it in a good way and not losing out to their rivals. And no matter how un-American Haas may seem, they are still all F1 heads at the moment in terms of an American team, with Andretti facing difficulties getting in. And until Andretti does eventually get in, because I have a feeling they will get in eventually, it'd be nice for the American team that's already on the grid to be somewhat competent and able to not fall backwards as the season goes on, so that while I'm sure for all you American fans will hate your own favorite team, whatever it is. You'll also hate a competent and trying to move forward home team that you can root for as well, if you so decide to. That is a question actually for the Americans watching. Do you support Haas? Or do you really not care about them? Or are you not really a fan of them, but do you keep an eye on them while being a fan of another team? Only time will tell if Haas can actually achieve this new plan, this new kind of way they're working really, with their upgrades and their development plan throughout the season to see if they can really go through the season without, falling backwards massively to their rivals like they have in the past. Japan is coming up next this coming weekend, and it'll be interesting to see how the American team fares there. In the team's Japanese Grand Prix preview that I saw it posted just this morning actually, team principal Ayao Komatsu commented that he thinks that Sector 1 in Suzuka is going to be a huge challenge for them after having seen those high-speed corners in Bahrain and Jeddah around Sector 1 and Melbourne, and seeing that their car wasn't quite there in the high-speed areas. And he also commented that he thinks that their race pace will be stronger than their qualifying pace. And as for comments from their drivers, then Nico Hülkenberg commented on how it's going to be interesting to see how they stand and all that in terms of like the high degradation, and Kevin Magnussen commented that on paper Suzuka doesn't look like it's going to quite suit them that well, but he also said what everyone basically has figured about Haas, that he thinks they have a better foundation in the car than they did last year, which is a very true point. Seriously, hopefully Haas can, actually not fall back during the season and have a actually decent season. Because you know what? I like an underdog story. I'm rooting for Haas. But what do you think of Haas right now? Let me know your thoughts. Do it in the comments below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.